हरे कृष्णा। आप सबका स्वागत है एक नई कड़ी में, एक मुलाकात कृष्ण भक्त के साथ। दर्शकों, आज का हमारा शो काफी स्पेशल है। आज से लगभग 1 साल पहले हमने शो की शुरुआत की थी। तब से लेके आज तक हमने कई सारे भक्तों के जीवन के बारे में जाना, उनके जीवन से हमने प्रेरणा ली और आज हम एक नई शुरुआत करने जा रहे हैं। आज तक हमारे शो में जो भी गेस्ट आए थे वो हमसे एक ही भाषा में बात कर पाते थे, जो कि हिंदी थी, और हम पूरी कोशिश करते थे कि हम उनके जीवन से प्रेरणा ले सके। तो इसी बीच कई सारे ऐसे भक्त जो कि अपने जन्म के कारण, अपने जिस देश में से वो आए हैं उस देश के कारण हमारी ये भाषा नहीं बोल पाते थे, पर वो भक्तों में नवरत्न है और उनके जीवन के बारे में जान के और उससे प्रेरणा लेके हम अपने जीवन में भक्ति को सुधार सकते हैं। तो आज हम एक नई कोशिश करना चाह रहे हैं, जिसमें कि हम ऐसे भक्तों को बुलाएंगे जो कि शायद हिंदी ना बोल पाए, पर हम उनसे अंग्रेजी में, इंग्लिश में कम्युनिकेट करेंगे। घबराइए मत, हम हमारा शो इंग्लिश में कन्वर्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, बस हम भक्तों को बुला रहे हैं जिनसे हम इंग्लिश में बात करेंगे। और मैं आपकी सेवा के लिए यहाँ पे तत्पर हूँ। मैं पूरी कोशिश करूँगा कि मैं उनकी बताई हुई चीज़ों को हिंदी में समराइज कर सकूँ। तो जिस तरह से पिछले 1 साल से ज़्यादा आप लोगों ने हमारे हर शो को सपोर्ट किया है, मैं आशा करता हूँ कि आप हमारी इस नई कोशिश को भी सपोर्ट करेंगे, उसी तरह सपोर्ट करेंगे। तो बढ़ते हैं आज के हमारे गेस्ट की तरफ। आज के हमारे गेस्ट ओरिजिनली जर्मनी से हैं। इन्होंने अपने जीवन में इनका जन्म एक मिडिल क्लास फैमिली जर्मनी में हुआ। अपने जीवन में इन्होंने संघर्ष करते हुए काफ़ी कुछ किया। इन्होंने पहले ये 3 साल मंदिर में ब्रह्मचारी की तरह रहे। इन्होंने प्रसादम का बिजनेस किया लगभग 10 साल, और फिर जर्मनी से ये अपनी धर्म पत्नी के साथ आज मायापुर में रहते हैं, जो कि कोलकाता के पास आता है। वहाँ पे ये लोग कई सालों से सेवा कर रहे हैं। इनके 2 बच्चे हैं। ये लोग काफ़ी फेमस हैं अपने एक चैनल के कारण, जिसका नाम है आई लव मायापुर, जिसमें कि ये लोग मायापुर के बारे में काफ़ी कुछ चीज़ें बड़ी विस्तार में और काफ़ी अच्छे कंटेंट और क्रिएटिव कंटेंट से बताते हैं। माता जी बुक्स को, प्रभुपाद की बुक्स को जर्मन लैंग्वेज में ट्रांसलेट करती हैं और इन ऑडियो, ताकि जर्मनी में जो लोग इंग्लिश समझ नहीं पाते, हिंदी समझ नहीं पाते, वो जर्मन लैंग्वेज में प्रभुपाद की संदेश को समझ सके। तो हमारा बहुत सौभाग्य है कि हमारे साथ ऐसे दिग्गज आज जुड़ने वाले हैं। तो मैं स्वागत करना चाहूंगा सुदेवी और प्रद्युम्न प्रभु का। So welcome Prabhuji, welcome Mataji to our show,
Hare Krishna.
and thank you so much for joining us today. We are very delighted that you are here with us today. So before starting your journey, I would like you to tell our audience about your background, about your childhood, about your upbringing. So please go ahead.
First of all, thank you very much for the invite that we could come today to your show. Thank you very much. Yes, I grew up in a small town in Austria. Austria, not Australia. Austria is a small country next to Germany. So I grew up in a small town in Europe with my parents, with 2 brothers. We had a big, nice house all together, one family. And yeah, I would say I had a very normal, good childhood in Austria with my family. I went to school, and yeah, and basically more or less I had a good time. I never had any problems. Everything was there. I was raised very lovingly with my parents, and I had many good friends in my small town, and yeah, like that.
Amazing. So दर्शकों, हमारे आम जीवन की तरह इनका भी जीवन जर्मनी में काफी साधारण था। एकदम मिडिल क्लास फैमिली से आए हैं ये। तो then how did you get introduced to bhakti? I mean, generally, the kind of a background you come from, I don't think so. You were introduced to such bhakti culture before in your childhood. So, how did you got interested to spiritual quest, and then eventually landed up in Krishna consciousness? I will request you to please tell something about that to our audience.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, first of all, Hare Krishna, especially in those days, like 20 years, 25 years ago, it was not very known. Nobody knew really what is Hare Krishna. No one knew about Indian culture, not much. You see, also on television, they didn't show much about India, not like nowadays. Bollywood is more big now. So these days, nobody knew much about India, and it was very foreign, very strange. And um, also, I didn't grow up very religious. Actually, my parents were not really religious. We went maybe once a year. We went to the church. I grew up. It's a Christian country.
Once in a year.
Huh? Yeah, maybe
Once
once a year, maybe twice. To Christmas, or maybe some relative maybe passed away, then we went to the church, something like that. So yeah, like religious life, spiritual life was not very common in our country. It was something, when we had to go to church, was very boring. It was like boring. We have to sit in the church. It was most of the time was cold. So I didn't have much experience of spirituality, religious life in my childhood like that. And yeah, when I became like 15, 16, you know, you start to think about life, more deeper. You question things. You question actually, if is actually everything all right? Are my parents, their belief system, is it all good? Is it all right? Is the society, is it actually, are they doing actually good? And I was thinking for myself, actually, I have everything. Everyone has everything. It's a rich country. Everyone has a good job. Everyone has a happy life. Happy life. Everyone has everything, but it seems like people are not very happy. So that was my thinking. People, there's something missing. So I was also, when I started to think mid 15, 16, 17, I was thinking something is missing in my life.
So that was a time when you got introduced to bhakti. तो दर्शकों 16-17 साल की उम्र में हम अपने जीवन के बारे में थोड़ा सीरियस होना शुरू करते हैं, और इसी उम्र में इन्होंने अपने जीवन को डेप्थ में जाना और समझा, और भक्ति की तरफ इनका आकर्षण हुआ, क्योंकि ये उस ऐसे परिवार से आते थे जहाँ ये शायद साल में सिर्फ 1 या 2 बार चर्च जाया करते थे। तो इनका बैकग्राउंड काफ़ी रिलीजियस नहीं था, काफ़ी आध्यात्मिक नहीं था। बस 16-17 साल की उम्र में इन्होंने सोचना शुरू किया कि हाँ, हमारी ज़िंदगी इससे भी ज़्यादा कुछ है, कुछ तो है जो मिसिंग है हमारी लाइफ में, समथिंग इज मिसिंग इन आवर लाइफ, एंड ही बिगेन ऑन द क्वेस्ट कि व्हाट इज दैट मिसिंग. So going further, when you had this question in your life that okay, something is there which is more than what you're doing, what was the next step which brought you to Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, actually, I had a base training in the Austrian military for like 9 months. It was like, mandatory. I had to go there. And there was one old man, like with a big beard, and everyone said he's crazy because he's like vegetarian, and he's like a. So I was like 18, 19. I asked him, because I heard he's into spirituality. So I asked him what kind of books I should read. So he said I should read about Buddhism, I should read about the Bible, and he said, and you must read Bhagavad Gita. So he was the first person in my life. He said you should read Bhagavad Gita. I didn't know what this book is. I had no idea. I went to the first bookstore and I asked, "Do you have the Bhagavad Gita?" I wrote it down on the paper. "Do you have Bhagavad Gita?" And said, "I don't know this book." So it was my first introduction to Bhagavad Gita.
Amazing. So Mataji, coming to you, how did you get introduced to devotees, to bhakti, and how was your background? I would request you to tell our audience about yourself also.
Yeah, I grew up pretty similar. My parents, we lived in a small village, but we also, my parents, we had everything we need, our own house. I'm an only child. I all my desires were fulfilled. And I lived there for 18 years when I finished my school, and then I went to university and was then on my own. And there I started to question life a little bit deeper, a little bit more. What is actually the purpose of life? What makes one really happy? I could see my studies, they're okay, I can earn some money with it, but it's not like life fulfilling. So some things were missing. And I remember a particular evening where I sat with friends together and we kind of philosophically had a discussion. And when I came home from that evening, I remember I sat on my window, and for the first time, I had this really deep question for answering. And I said, if there is any God, because I'm from a background even worse than my husband, we never went to church. My
Wow.
my husband, my family, there's no God. Then I don't believe.
It's Eastern,
I'm from East Germany,
East Germany.
so
It
they're
was
very
the communism influence.
So, but there I got introduced to people who have in my study times. They had a belief, and I questioned for the first time, if there is a God, please let me know if this is a possibility in life. And I remember clearly how I sat on my window and I looked up in the sky, and I was okay, if there is something out there. And 2 days later, I met a devotee. I met
Wow.
and then got introduced in this for me at this time very not common, very different view of the world, very different philosophy. Yeah, and so
Wow.
it started. Then slowly I learned about the topics of Bhagavad Gita, about reincarnation, about karma, and it made sense to me, and I stayed
Wow.
with it.
So
Like that.
आई एम श्योर सो दर्शकों, माता जी तो ऐसे बैकग्राउंड से आई हैं जहाँ पे कि साल में एक बार चर्च जाने का भी कोई सवाल नहीं उठता था। ये एकदम ऐसे कम्युनिस्ट बैकग्राउंड से आए हैं जहाँ पे भगवान को माना ही नहीं जाता। और एक शाम को इन्होंने अपने जब अपने दोस्तों के साथ डीप डिस्कशन करके आए, जब इनको अंतरात्मा से ऐसा लगा कि ये यार कुछ तो मिसिंग है, कुछ तो जीवन में होना चाहिए, और इन्होंने जब ये इच्छा की अपने विंडो में बैठ के, जिस तरह से इनको याद है, तब इन्होंने ये इच्छा की कि अगर भगवान आप हैं, सो प्लीज शो मी अ वे। एंड ठीक 2 दिन बाद इनकी मुलाकात भक्तों से हुई। और ये अपने में बहुत चमत्कारी है कि जब हम भगवान की तरफ एक स्टेप बढ़ाते हैं, तो भगवान हमारी तरफ 99 स्टेप्स बढ़ाते हैं। बस वो एक स्टेप की देरी, बस वो एक इच्छा की देरी है। सो इफ वी जस्ट टेक दैट वन स्टेप towards the Lord is ready to take hundreds of steps towards us, and this is a profound example of that. So going further, I would like to ask, there is a different thing of getting introduced to something new, something which you have not experienced before, and there is a different thing to become very serious about it. So how did you both became really serious about it, and what was the conviction in your heart which told you that yes, this is something which needs to be done in our life, and this is something for which we should dedicate our life? So if you can tell something about it to our audience.
Yeah, for me, it started around when I was like 19, 20. Actually, what happened is one very good friend of mine, he died on a car accident. You know, he was very close to me. He was a very good friend, and suddenly he was gone. So this was my first contact with, you know, something very serious in life, with death and everything. And this was the time when we went the first time actually to the temple to just check it out. But it was, you know, I went 1 time, 2 times, and it was not for me. So this gave me a very deep impression. Of course, it was very intense, and then really, as also Sudevi said, I really had in my heart this desire. Okay, I want to know answers. I want to know what is really life about. Is there life after death? or is everything anyways useless? When we die, everything is gone. So what is life actually about? So I was really, asking this question. And then at this time, my a good friend of mine, he met the Hare Krishnas on the street, and he got 5 books, 6 books, a big stack of books. And he came to my place at home and said, look, I met Hare Krishna devotees on the street, and he came to my house with these books and said, there's a temple opening in Vienna. We have to go there. So this is how it started. And we said, okay, let's go to the temple. I really thought it's like a big temple opening, but actually it was just a small flat, and some devotees were living in there. So, and this was really my first contact. Then I went with friends to the temple. There was one Prabhupada disciple, Prithu Prabhu. He was there with some disciples of him, and they introduced me to. This was the first time, introduced me to the philosophy, to the Hare Krishna mantra, to Prasadam, and it was the first contact I had with them. And it was a little difficult in the beginning. I could not fully, say, okay, that's the thing. And what actually happened with me then, when I was, around 20, I went with the Hare Krishnas 1 month to India. I said, I want to go out. I want to leave. I want to go somewhere. First, I wanted to go to Australia, because I thought Australia is very spiritual. I go to Australia. But then say, why to Australia? Come with us to India. And then I said, okay, yeah, maybe I go with you guys to India. So I went with them to India. And
So
I can
that's
shortly,
how अमेजिंग. तो इन्होंने अपने जीवन में बस जब ये सोचा कि हमें अब क्या है हमारा जीवन और किस तरीके से हमें आगे बढ़ाना चाहिए, उसी समय इनके दोस्त मिल गए किसी भक्त से जिन्होंने इन्हें प्रभुपाद की बुक्स दी, और ये प्रभुपाद की बुक्स पढ़ के काफ़ी इंटरेस्टेड हो गए, मंदिर में जाने लगे, और फिर उसके बाद इन्होंने डिसाइड किया कि ये भारत आएंगे. जर्मनी से ये भारत आए, और आगे हम जानेंगे कि भारत में इनका क्या एक्सपीरियंस था. So Mataji, coming on to you, how did the things unfold later on, and how did you became serious about it? Please tell us something about it.
Yeah, I think it starts slow. So you go to I went for the Sunday feasts, and I slowly learned, came in contact with more devotees, and I heard lectures, and then you try the chanting, and you be at the festivals, and then I started to see that there's something in the lives of devotees, or in the lives of God conscious persons, that makes them really satisfied, actually, and that I wanted to have that. I wanted to. I also wanted to be, or wanted to have some kind of satisfaction and happiness in my life. I could see I could not find anywhere else until now. So that's why I thought, okay, let's get serious about this way. Then maybe I can also find my happiness in there. So this,
Wow, amazing.
so that's how it started. Yeah,
बस
to get serious.
भक्तों को
Yeah.
सो बस भक्तों को देखते हुए इनके जीवन में भी ये ख्याल आया कि भक्त इतने खुश हैं, मुझे भी खुश होना चाहिए. तो इन्होंने धीरे धीरे जब शुरू किया, मंदिर जाना शुरू किया, और बस इसी तरीके से भक्ति में सीरियस हो गई. बट ये बहुत प्यारी बात कही इन्होंने अभी दैट भक्त हमेशा खुश रहते हैं. कुछ तो है उनके जीवन में जो कि वो हमेशा सेटिस्फाइड रहते हैं. तो जब हम भक्ति में आते हैं तो हमें कुछ मिले या ना मिले, पर हमें जीवन में सेटिस्फैक्शन जरूर मिल जाती है. जो आज हम देख रहे हैं कि एक वेस्टर्न कंट्री में, एक अलग देश से आने में भी भक्ति का वही असर है. द सेम इफेक्ट ऑफ भक्ति इज वर्ल्ड वाइड एवरीवेयर, regardless of the place and regardless of the people, that it gives satisfaction and it gives happiness to the practitioner. So going further, you came to India. Prabhuji, you went on a trip to India for a month. So if you can tell something about how exciting was it?
What she said, for her was slowly. Like she said, she went regular to Sunday programs and took some time For me, Krishna had to throw me in the cold water. Otherwise, for me, it would be slow, would be not possible. So I went to India, and of course, from day one, they gave me a beat pack, say now chant Hare Krishna. So I start chanting. Actually, my first round on the beat pack, I chanted in Vrindavan actually. So I chanted chanting, and they gave me a dhoti. I pressed on dhoti. I started like really seriously reading a book, and yeah, and being 1 month with devotees, we went to Vrindavan, we went to Mayapur, we went to Jagannath Puri, and I remember one time we went. I was in the first week in Vrindavan. They said, today we take a bath in a special river." So we all went. Put on gamcha. We went. Take a bath in the Jamuna. Of course, I didn't know what this is actually, and then I came out, and I remember one devotee. He looked at me very seriously and said, "You know what? Your material life is now finished." And I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, very powerful statement. I remember still." And and I could feel, I mean, of course, after spending 1 month with devotees in the Holy Dham, my whole life changed completely, 180 degrees. And I also couldn't go back to my so-called old life, old life of me being a young adult, going to parties, having a happy life, and this kind of stuff. So
Because
I
you had
couldn't
a
go
dip
back
in
there.
Yamuna.
Yeah, Yamuna did it to me.
So दर्शकों, ये भारत में गए और उन्होंने सारे धाम का दर्शन किया, वृंदावन, जगन्नाथपुरी, मायापुर, और काफी इन्होंने अपने जीवन का पहला महामंत्र जो जप किया था वो वृंदावन में किया था, और काफी सुंदरता से इन्होंने इस बात का अभी जिक्र किया कि किस तरीके से इन्होंने एक नदी में डुबकी लगाई और फिर बाद में इन्हें पता चला कि वो यमुना जी हैं, और किसी ने उन्हें कहा कि अब आपकी भौतिक लाइफ, जो भौतिक आसक्तियां हैं, वो इस नदी में स्नान करने के बाद चली गई हैं। और इन्होंने भी अपने जीवन में ये रियलाइज किया कि किस तरीके से, जैसे पहले पार्टीज जाते थे हर जगह पे, जिस तरह से अपने जीवन को अननेसेसरी चीजों में वेस्ट कर रहे थे, उसके बाद वो कभी नहीं कर पाए। So then I heard that you become a monk in the temple for quite a time, and you spent your life completely dedicated to Krishna consciousness. So tell us something about it. How did that came in your mind that now this is a thing what I need to dedicate my life to?
Yeah, when I came back to India, first I was still 2-3 months with my parents' place and to kind of get my head straight. But then I made like a conscious decision. Okay, I want to go to the temple because they offered like a Bhakti program, a program for newcomers. Then they introduced you to Christian consciousness, and they said it will only take 3 months. So I said, okay, I dedicate myself 3 months in the temple, and so I moved in the temple. I started this program. We had every day we had courses. They introduced us to the philosophy. We did some practical service. We cooked together. We went out. We did some harinams on the streets. We're singing on the street. I was introduced to book distribution, so I went out of the street and introduced other people to Christian consciousness. And yeah, it was supposed to be 3 months. Out of these 3 months, went 3 years. Became 3 years. Because it was very nice. Like I started really to like it and the lifestyle, and I developed nice relationships with the devotees in the temple. And for me, I can say I found really my passion there, and I said, okay, I want to do this as long as I can and want to, like that.
Amazing. तो इन्होंने अपने जीवन के, ये गए थे मंदिर में 3 महीने का एक प्रोग्राम अटेंड करने, जहाँ पे कि सेवा करेंगे, और अपने जीवन के 3 साल इन्होंने फिर मंदिर में ही बिता दिए, क्योंकि इन्हें बहुत आनंद आया भक्तों के साथ रहने में, प्रसादम सर्व करने में, प्रचार करने में, संकीर्तन करने में। तो इन्हें अपने जीवन का वो सुख जो भौतिक जगत में रह के बाहरी चीजों में नहीं मिला, उन्हें मंदिर में, भारत से आने के बाद ये मंदिर में कुछ दिन अपने घर पे रहे और फिर 3 साल के लिए मंदिर में चले गए। वाओ. So were you working also thereafter? I mean you were doing a catering business. That's what I got to know about you. What were you doing otherwise professionally?
This came later.
Okay.
she went to university. She has a good university degree. I dropped out of school when I was 15, more or less. I dropped out. I didn't like school. I never liked school. I dropped out with 15. I did some jobs, and so I didn't learn anything. I don't have any, I was working in some, metal, some crafting with metals, but I was not interested. Anyways, in a temple, I kind of discovered my passion for cooking. So
Wow.
I ended up in the kitchen. I cooked a lot. I cooked for Sunday feast. I, more or less on a daily basis. I cooked for the devotees. We also had a small restaurant in Vienna. I started to cook for the restaurant, and I developed a passion for cooking. And a little later on, I moved from Austria to Germany, and there I started a catering business. First a catering business, for weddings and birthdays, and like a vegetarian prasadam business. And yeah, it was difficult in the beginning, but after some time it took off. And then was also the time when I met Sudevi.
Very nice. So you must be very, very happy, Mataji, that he cooks so well and his passion is cooking. I mean,
He
very
he he never cooks under 100 people. So
amazing. So
I only cooked big pots always. I always had these big pots. So now the small pots, it's difficult.
स्टिल बेटर. तो इन्हें अपना जीवन का लक्ष्य, क्योंकि ज्यादा पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे, तो इनको कुकिंग करने में काफी मजा आया, तो इन्होंने अपना केटरिंग बिजनेस, अपना प्रसादम का एक बिजनेस शुरू किया. तो काफी लोगों को प्रसादम बांटते थे और तभी उनकी मुलाकात माता जी से हुई. So going further, you now reside in Mayapur. You got married and you have two beautiful children. We are getting a lot of messages from our audience that they are missing seeing Vamana and Padmini. So we'll love to have them in a show also later in the time. So before we go there, you were settled in a country and then you decided that you will move to a different country, a different culture. So how did it happen? And Mataji, was it not a difficult decision that, okay, now we are going to Mayapur, where we are going to get settled and start a new life completely for your children and for yourself? So please tell us something about your experience, that how you decided to move from Germany to India in Mayapur, and how did you get settled over there? And why did you choose Mayapur?
yeah, we chose Mayapur because it's an international community, and yeah, it's international. People from all over the world are here, and it's the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you can, if you're here, you can feel the mercy you get when you practicing spiritual life. For example, we with the kids, we went for the first time all together with the kids when Padmini was 6 months old. So, and at this time when you have a small baby, and then I had a almost 2-year older one, so they're almost 2 years apart, so very small. And as a mom, then you always struggle to chant your rounds, to get everything in order. So, but when we came here, it felt so easy. Suddenly it felt so easy because we were in a community where everyone is doing it. You go shopping and you see devotees with a bead bag, and it's like, okay, I also chant, I can just do it on my way, and it's very relaxing. And you just go for a temple program. You don't have to be the one who's doing the temple program, you just attend. And unfortunately, we were living in a place in Germany where there's a very nice but very small community. So, and we really, when we were here, we really, yeah, you can say we enjoyed this spiritual atmosphere. We could just dive in. That's why we really started to like Mayapur and think about maybe raising, not just visiting, but maybe even raising our kids here, or at least spend some more time here. And this was actually my plan. We just spent more time in India, but not, or in Mayapur, but not completely move here. This just happened.
Wow. Bye.
That was her plan in begin, but we, Krishna Goranga made other arrangements.
Yeah.
Then suddenly
Yeah.
we were full time here.
Amazing. तो दर्शकों, जर्मनी से जब वहाँ ये भक्ति की प्रैक्टिस करते थे, इनका ये मन में इच्छा रहती थी कि हमें अपने बच्चों को इंडिया ज्यादा विजिट करवाना चाहिए, धाम ज्यादा विजिट कराना चाहिए। तो देखिए धाम के प्रति क्या आकर्षण होता है। आप दुनिया के किसी भी कोने में हो, पर धाम आपको आकर्षित जरूर करता है। और जिस तरीके से ये मायापुर में आए, वहां इन्होंने देखा कि भक्तों के संग में रह के भक्ति करना कितना सरल है। जब ये जर्मनी में रहते थे तो इन्हें काफी कठिनाई होती थी भक्ति करने में, और जब ये मायापुर आए तो इन्हें समझा कि किस तरीके से हम भक्ति कर सकते हैं, और इन्होंने फिर ये डिसीजन लिया कि ये मायापुर शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे। सो ये जर्मनी से इंडिया शिफ्ट हो गए, मायापुर में, जहाँ ये आज रहते हैं अपने 2 बच्चों के साथ। सो दैट्स अमेजिंग। सो I would like to know now that because you are parents of 2 amazing kids, how is it important? I mean, you gave utmost importance to the spiritual upbringing of your children. So I would like you to explain that how is it important, and what have you seen in your children now that they are being born and brought up in a spiritual environment? How is it beneficial for them, and what message would you like to give to our audience who are parents? I mean, everybody may not be able to get the opportunity to stay in a dham, but wherever they are, they can give that environment to their children. So I would like you to give a very profound message to our audience, to the audience who are parents, that what is the importance of this spiritual atmosphere for our children's upbringing.
Yeah. Also, first of all, I would say, of course, you think about your children, but you also have to think for yourself. So start with yourself also, that you think, what's actually the best for the children is also the best for me. So
Wow.
I would say for myself, I want to be happy in my life. I want to be myself. I want to be happy. I want to be people around me. I want that they are also happy. So that's the core message, actually, why we're doing it. It's about the satisfaction about it. So my realization is a life without spirituality, without religion, without doing something devotional, whatever religion you actually are, it doesn't matter ultimately, something has to be there. Otherwise, there is something missing, something missing for yourself and also for your children. So I can just, and I understand some people say, yeah, you live in Mayapur, it's very easy, spirit life is very easy. I just go out of the door, there's everywhere devotees, I go to the temple, and it's true, it's very easy. It's especially for us, I can say it's easier to live in this environment. And but I know I have many friends, in Germany and in Europe and other, many other parts of the world, that they maybe don't have this kind of environment, and but still they're kind of looking for association. And I think that's the key point, that you need people who are living this kind of lifestyle, and you can associate with them and you can meet them. And you don't need 5,000 devotees like you have here in Mayapur. Anyways, I cannot talk to everyone. So if there's 5 people, there's 10 people, group together with them and do something. So everyone has to make some initiative to do something for himself, and to go out and find people who are similar minded, do something together with them, and on a regular basis try to do something at home, learn something small at home, in the morning, go together, the family, chant one round, maybe with the children, maybe it is possible, read them some stories out of the Krishna book. We have so many nice books. My wife spent hours and hours in Germany still reading the kids Krishna stories from Krishna book, and all kinds of devotional stories. And I think that helped them also to, from small on, to give a nice impression about, spirit life, about Krishna consciousness. And yeah, come together in the evening, make some kirtan, make some arati, it can be small, I know everyone is busy, we have to earn money, we go out, we are busy, we have to work, we have to do things, but we have to little time, everyone has a little time to do something for Krishna. So like that.
Amazing. Maji, would you like to add something?
No, I think it's all said. No,
Amazing.
Especially with children, maybe you can say something how to.
yeah, I mean, you can just give children what you have yourself. So
Wow.
you cannot say with the finger pointing on them, you have to be the example. You have to have the joy of doing a devotional life and a spiritual life, and then they see, and then hopefully they think, oh, I also want to do this. So and of course you can try to inspire with all the things Pradyumna just said, but ultimately I think you have to have the joy in yourself, and then hopefully can give it to the kids also.
Amazing. तो दर्शकों, इन्होंने बड़ी सरलता से हमें ये बताया कि भक्ति में जब हमें आनंद आता है, हम वही आनंद अपने बच्चों को दे सकते हैं और अपने बच्चों को ये उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि उसमें उन्हें इंटरेस्ट आए. हमें बस छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से, अपनी बिजी लाइफ में छोटी छोटी चीज़ों से, ग्रंथों को पढ़ते हुए, कृष्णा बुक को पढ़ते हुए, कभी छोटा मोटा कीर्तन करके बस अपने बच्चों को एंगेज रखना है. जिस तरह से ये अपनी लाइफ में करते हैं, इनकी भी लाइफ काफ़ी बिजी है, बट हम भी अपने जीवन में अगर खुद इन चीज़ों को अपनाएं और उस खुशी को महसूस करें खुद के लिए, तो ही हम वो चीज़ अपने परिवार में, अपने बच्चों में फ्लो कर पाएंगे. मतलब ऐसा होता है कि जब हमें ग्लास को भर देते हैं और जब वो पानी पूरा भर जाता है तो ही पानी छलकता है. तो अगर हम अपने जीवन में उस आनंद से भर जाएंगे तो ही वो छलकेगा हमारे सराउंडिंग में, हमारे बच्चों के ऊपर, हमारे परिवार के ऊपर. Amazing, amazing. That was just very profound, but put in very simple words, that we must be very happy and content in the devotion, and then and only then we can inspire our children to do it. Amazing. So going further, you guys are running an amazing channel. I love Mayapur. I happened to see a couple of videos and it was really interesting. And the way you explained about Mayapur, and I'm personally a foodie, so I got attracted to the video, that what are the places you can have prasadam in Mayapur. So tell us something about the idea. How did this idea came in your mind, that you can render this service to the world by presenting Mayapur in a very different way? I still remember one of the videos where you all are there on a plane in an animation, and then you fly from Germany, president saying you bye, and then you land upon Mayapur. That was really creative. I mean, that's a very quality content you're presenting to the audience. So I love to know about it. What inspired you to start the service?
You want to start?
Yeah, I started actually this channel under a different name, and a German name, and I just was reading Srila Prabhupada's books in German. And
Okay.
because in Germany we don't have much or many audiobooks, and then I started to read Krishna book in German, Ishopanishad, and also telling some stories, because I saw there is a need in the German community for this. And then my husband got introduced to cameras and said, "Why you not speak just the stories in front of cameras?" And then we started like that I just told German stories into the camera instead of reading them, just the audio. And then we thought, okay, it would be also nice if we can share our Mayapur life with our German friends back home. And then that's how we started to make the first Mayapur videos, with the thought in mind we share it with our friends in Germany. And then friends from here, from Mayapur, they started, "Oh, I saw this video, but I don't understand anything. Can you just maybe make some subtitles under it?" So we made some English subtitles, and then there was the Gurukul video where our son introduces or shows the Gurukul. And this video suddenly got viral and a
That
lot of
that was
views.
the that was the one video when I saw, I was like, oh shit, I want to be a child again. I want to also study in Gurukul. That was like amazing.
Yeah. So, and then came the thought, okay, maybe we should do videos in English yeah, to a broader,
Reach,
to
yeah,
reach more people. Yes. So it
and
started.
attempt what we are doing today. We have just changed the language of how we converse with devotees today. The same attempt you did. So इन्होंने अपने अपना ये चैनल बड़े ही सिंपल और सरल रीजन से शुरू किया था, जहाँ पे कि ये जर्मनी में जर्मन भाषा में प्रभुपाद की बुक का अनुवाद करके लेक्चर्स लेते थे, और फिर धीरे 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 इनके जीवन में ये प्रेरणा आई इनको धाम में रह के कि किस तरीके से धाम के दर्शन कराए जाएं, धाम के बारे में बताया जाए। उन्होंने काफी सारी वीडियोस बनाई जिसमें कि मायापुर धाम के बारे में बड़ी ही डिटेल्स में बताया जाता है। काफी सुंदर वीडियोस हैं और लोग इससे आकर्षित होते हैं और धाम में आने की सोचते हैं, एटलीस्ट इच्छा तो करते हैं, और इच्छा को ही भगवान पूरी करता है। तो इन वीडियो के माध्यम से कई सारे लोगों के मन में ये इच्छा आती है कि किस तरीके से हम भी इस धाम में आके वैसा दर्शन कर सके जैसा हम इस वीडियो में देख रहे हैं। That's amazing. So going further, we are just heading towards the time when we are going to start the question answers of our audience. Before that, तो मैं announcement करना चाहूँगा कि अभी हम थोड़ी देर में क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड शुरू करने वाले हैं, जिसमें कि आप लाइव क्वेश्चंस हमारे शो में पूछ सकेंगे। तो मैं विनती करूंगा कि आप इस वीडियो का लिंक अपने दोस्तों, रिश्तेदारों सबको फॉरवर्ड करें ताकि वो भी अपने क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकें। So I would like to know, what do you do now? What are your services? How do you render services in the Dham, and how do you live a devotional life with your children today? So please tell us something about it. And one more thing I would like to ask you, it's something which is often misunderstood, but yet it'll be wonderful if you clarify this. Many times it's seen that when we come in devotional life, people think that devotional life is something which we should do or we should practice in a very older age, where we have done everything, we are done with all the responsibilities of our life, we have earned enough money, and everything is settled. Both of you started a devotional life at a very early age. You are living a devotional life in a Grihastha ashram. Many people think that having devotional life in a Grihastha ashram will actually spoil the fun of Grihastha ashram. So I would like you to please inspire and tell our audience, was it is it not fun to be in devotion? What are your thoughts about it, that we should start our devotional life practicing devotion at a very early age and not at an old age?
Well, I would just very simply say, why wait until you're old? I mean, devotional life it's fun. I love it. We go out, we having kirtan together, we dancing together, we have wonderful festivals and prasadam, and everything is connected with a beautiful culture also. So why you would miss out? It's this is kind of the question itself is kind of self-defeating. I don't know. It's devotional life, it should be fun. It's not something, of course, maybe you have to, some things you don't do anymore, and but it's you have so many other things which are nice that I think I would approach it this way. Spiritual life, devotional life should be nice and fun and engaging and fulfilling, and then you actually want to do it. So if you have some spare times, between working and studying or whatever you do, do something devotional, and it should make fun, and then you don't need to wait until you're old. And when you're old, what can you do when you're old? Anyways, it's everything becomes more difficult. The body hurts already starting. When you're old, everything hurts, and it's more difficult everything. So why wait?
Yeah. Maji, would you like to add something?
For me, it's a similar approach. For me, life without spiritual life would be boring and not satisfying. So
Amazing.
Yeah.
So दर्शकों, इनका कहना है कि अच्छी लाइफ के लिए बुढ़ापे तक वेट क्यों करना? अगर हम भक्ति में कीर्तन करते हुए, प्रसादम खाते हुए, भक्तों के साथ रहते हुए, मजे करके अगर अपनी लाइफ को व्यतीत कर सकते हैं, तो बुढ़ापे तक वेट करके क्या मिलेगा? अच्छी चीज के लिए वेट थोड़ी करना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब आप बूढ़े हो जाएंगे तब इतना सब नहीं कर पाएंगे। तो हमारे जीवन में हमें जब भक्ति अपनाने का समय आता है, तो हम इन्हीं सब दुविधाओं में रह के रह जाते हैं। और यहाँ हम ऐसे लोगों से मिल रहे हैं जो कि एक दूसरे देश से आते हुए भी इतने कन्विंस्ड हैं कि भक्ति के बिना इनकी लाइफ बहुत बोरिंग हो जाएगी। ये बहुत सोचने की जरूरत है हमें जीवन में कि क्या हमारे पास भी ये कन्विक्शन है, क्या हमारे पास भी ये प्रेरणा है कि भक्ति हमारे जीवन में इतना इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करती है। अमेजिंग। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड की तरफ। क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड की तरफ बढ़ने से पहले मैं एक अनाउंसमेंट करना चाहूंगा। 16 नवंबर को, अभी कार्तिक का महीना चल रहा है, और 16 नवंबर को हम हरे कृष्णा टीवी द्वारा एक यज्ञ का आयोजन हो रहा है। ये यज्ञ का आयोजन बरसाना धाम में होगा। बरसाना धाम में ये माना जाता है, श्री रूप गोस्वामी कहते हैं कि कार्तिक के प्रिसाइडिंग डीटी राधा रानी है। तो ये एक फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट यज्ञ किया जा रहा है। आप इसके लिए रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं, और आपकी इच्छा हो तो आप किसी भी तरीके से हरे कृष्णा टीवी को आगे बढ़ने के लिए कोई दान दक्षिणा दे सकते हैं। आपके द्वारा दिया गया कोई भी योगदान हम हरे कृष्णा टीवी के संचालन के लिए यूज करेंगे, जो कि 5 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों के घर में फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट बिना किसी ऐड के 24/7 दिखाया जाता है। तो इसका लिंक लाइव चैट में शेयर किया गया है, आप इसके लिए रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं। ये फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है और आपके नाम से वहां आहुति दी जाएगी, तो आप इस यज्ञ का लाभ उठा सकते हैं। तो अब बढ़ेंगे हमारे क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड की तरफ, जहां पे कि आप सब अपने लाइव क्वेश्चंस पूछ सकते हैं। नाउ वी आर प्रोसीडिंग टुवर्ड्स आवर question answer round, where you all can ask your lovely questions to our guest today. We'll try to take as many questions as possible. I'll request to my audience कि आप बार बार अपने क्वेश्चंस हमारे चैट में ना डालिए। प्लीज डोंट पुट योर क्वेश्चंस मेनी टाइम्स इन आवर चैट, बिकॉज आवर सॉफ्टवेयर विल ब्लॉक यू। हमारा सॉफ्टवेयर आपको ब्लॉक कर देगा, and we'll be very very unhappy that we couldn't take your questions. So proceeding to our first question, हमारा पहला क्वेश्चन हमारी ऑडियंस की तरफ से आ रहा है अजय राज शर्मा जी की तरफ से ही। He says, can you please share what inspiration do you always carry which inspires you to do so much for Srila Prabhupada and his mission, and what happiness you got in Krishna consciousness that's not there in material pursuits? So Ajay Raj Sharma ji is asking this. Please go ahead.
Well, my realization is always when I do something for, for Srila Prabhupada, for my Guru Maharaj, for the mission, for ISKCON, always when I do something which I feel has some value, I'm satisfied. I become happy. So, and when you do this many times in your life, always do some service, even if it's something small, and you feel satisfied. And when you don't do anything, you're not satisfied. So my experience is, after many years of doing some service, doing some seva, I become happy. I'm blissful. I like it. I feel some fulfillment in my heart. So why stop? So, and sometimes I also have phases where I'm not inspired. I don't know what to do. I'm a little bit uninspired, and I'm not doing much service, and I feel okay, something missing. Then I get up and say, let's do something, and then make some new projects, some new videos, something new, and I can see, I feel I get some fulfillment again.
Amazing. Maji, would you like to add something?
Yeah, it's the same for me. That's very fulfilling, and also to show the gratitude for all the knowledge and the emphasis what Srila Prabhupada put in his books and in his teachings when he was here at this world. It's amazing when you hear about Srila Prabhupada's life, and when you hear from Srila Prabhupada's disciples what they did, and how much love they had for them, and how much gratitude they had for them, and when we read his books, we can, it's also it's a little thank you to do also something for Srila Prabhupada and his mission in life.
वाह दर्शकों, इन्हें सेवा करके वो खुशी मिलती है, वो संतुष्टि मिलती है कि ये सोचते हैं कि सेवा करना छोड़ना ही क्यों है जब संतुष्टि मिल रही है तो। और जब इनके जीवन में ऐसे माहौल आते हैं जब ये प्रेरित नहीं होते सेवा करने के लिए, कई बार हमारे जीवन में भी ऐसे समय आते हैं तो ये और सेवा करते हैं, सेवा करने के मौके ढूंढते हैं और फिर इन्हें प्रेरणा मिल जाती है। और माता जी ने कहा, एक बहुत बड़ी सुंदरता से कहा कि किस तरीके से अगर हम प्रभुपाद की बुक्स पढ़ते हैं, प्रभुपाद के मिशन में किसी भी तरीके से सेवा कर रहे हैं, तो उनके लिए ये एक धन्यवाद देने जैसा है, उनके लिए एक ग्रैटिट्यूड है कि उन्होंने जितना हमारे लिए किया हम थोड़ा तो कर सकते हैं। अमेजिंग। तो बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। We'll proceed to our next question. Our next question is coming from Vishaka Sharma. She asked, Hare Krishna to both of you. Maharji, being a woman, you have to take care of your house and your kids. Surely takes a lot of time. How do you manage to take time for your sadhana and take care of yourself? So this is coming from Vishaka Sharma. And Maharji, she wants to know, how do you spare time for sadhana and for yourself in spite of being so busy with your kids?
It's a routine. We get up early in the morning. Our son needs to be at 5 in school, so we get up at 4. Then when he's in school, I chant my rounds until my daughter wakes up, a little bit with her already when she woke up. And then we go for darshan arati, and this is also part of our sadhana, so we do it together. So we go for darshan
At 7.
at 7:15, and after is breakfast, and then school. And then when she's in school time, I have time for other things, and cooking. It's doable. It's if you I think it's really if you really want to do something, you find time to do it. So if you really want to go for darshan, you find time to do it. And yeah, I would.
So it has become so normal for you that you feel that, okay, it's very normal, it's a routine for us. but for our audience, it's not a routine. For many people watching this, they'll be very
Yeah.
they'll like to take that inspiration that how do you manage it? How do you get up early in the morning? I mean, for you, it's like, okay, we get up at 4 o'clock. But for maximum of our audience, getting up early in the morning is a challenge. So
Yeah,
yes, but you very nicely said.
Usually we would sleep right now.
Yeah.
We would be already in bed. This is the secret for
waking up early. The secret of waking up early is going to bed early. It's not a big secret.
Amazing. तो ये अपने जीवन में इस तरह की इन्होंने कार्यशैली बना रखी है जिससे कि ये सुबह जल्दी उठ जाते हैं और अपने समय को काफी अच्छे से उपयोग कर पाते हैं। उन्होंने बड़ी सुंदरता से माता जी ने एक चीज कहा कि अगर आप कोई चीज करना चाहते हैं और अगर आप दिल से चाहते हैं तो आप उसके लिए समय जरूर निकाल पाएंगे। आपको उसके लिए समय निकालने की वो जद्दोजहद नहीं करनी पड़ेगी, आप बस आसानी से समय निकाल पाएंगे अगर आप उस चीज को प्रेम करते हैं, तो जो कि हम अपने जीवन में हमें ढूंढना चाहिए कि हम किस तरीके से कर सकते हैं। सो बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। वील प्रोसीड टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम Prashant Deshmukh. He asked, what inspired you to join Krishna consciousness? How do you feel now and before joining Krishna consciousness?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke, thank you, mostly of it.
So I think you spoke about what inspired you to join Krishna consciousness. I think you can answer the part, how do you feel now compared to before? I mean, when you were not in Bhakti.
It's very difficult actually to imagine myself now without Krishna consciousness. You know, how would my life look like? Where would I be? What would I do? It's very difficult to answer. I can just say, you know, I just know now I could not live without it anymore. This definitely I can say. You know, if I cannot say, okay, I stopped chanting, I stopped seeing devotees, I stopped eating prasadam. It would be like nightmare. So it's difficult to say. And before Krishna consciousness, of course, I didn't know about Krishna consciousness. So, sometimes I thought I'm happy, I'm doing all right, then what many times I was thinking something is missing. And yeah, like she already said, this gratitude what we have, that we actually what we got from Prabhupada, from this book, all this knowledge. I mean, people in time of immemorial, they always looking for this kind of answers. What is the purpose of life? What is life all about? I mean, yeah, people asking since so long these questions. I mean, I'm not saying I have all the answers of all, have all the answers of all the questions, but it definitely gives me a great sense of purpose. Yeah.
Amazing. Mahaji, would you like to add something to it?
Yeah, I can also not imagine how my life would be. There's also a development in a human person from when you go life and you change naturally, and mm, no,
So,
I can also not really say how it was before or after. Yeah.
तो दर्शकों, इनके लिए आज ये चीज सोचना भी बहुत मुश्किल है कि भक्ति के बिना इनके जीवन क्या होता। इनका ये कहना है कि भक्तों के बिना, भक्तों के संग के बिना ये जी नहीं पाएंगे। तो ये है इनका कन्विक्शन भक्ति की तरफ। वाओ, very commendable. So we'll proceed to our next. Yeah, you would like to add something?
Maybe I have now a goal where I can go to, which I hadn't before, which I really want to achieve. I would like to see Krishna. I would like to see God. I would like to have a relationship, and this keeps me going. Before I didn't had such a deep goal which I would like to achieve.
Amazing.
Maybe that.
तो अभी इन्हें अपने जीवन में एक ऐसा लक्ष्य लगता है कि हाँ, हम भक्ति करके भगवान को देख सकते हैं, भगवान को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, जो इनके जीवन में पहले ये लक्ष्य बिल्कुल नहीं हुआ करता था। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ. We'll proceed to our next question. Our next question is coming from Raj Kishore. So he wants to know, Prabhuji, what was the reaction of your family when you told them about your spiritual motivation? Wow. What was the reaction of your family, Prabhuji?
Not good. Yeah, it was strange. I mean, as I said before, because I was very radical, also I didn't slowly. So I said, I move into the temple, I become now a monk, and, my life will change. And so it was difficult for my family, also for my friends, because many of my friends didn't understand what I'm doing now. And I have to say, for me, it was also difficult because, I was kind of living between two worlds now. I had to decide, I couldn't, for me, it was not manageable to still have, like a normal life in Austria and still becoming a devotee. I want to kind of dedicate myself fully also. And I'm a little bit radical maybe. And yeah, but when my parents saw, that I'm very serious about it, and, then, my parents, they came to the temple. Also, they looked at everything, and my mother got to know the devotees, and she actually realized, yeah, actually, there's a very nice people. So I actually like the devotees. So, my mother is it's a mother of heart. So, and now my mother came 2 times already here to Mayapur. She visited me, and
Amazing. So शुरुआती तौर पे इनके भी परिवार वाले.
Hare Krishna.
I'm sorry.
I think the
Can you hear us?
connection is. Hare Krishna.
I think there was some problem, but now you're back. Yes, you're back.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Can you hear me?
Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Are we back online?
You hear us?
Hello?
Yeah, you are there. You are there. Okay, किसी टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टी के कारण हम प्रभु जी और माता जी को सुन नहीं पा रहे हैं, बट इनके पिछले जवाब का मैं समरी देना चाहूँगा कि हाँ, इनके भी जीवन में ऐसा समय आया था जब इनके पेरेंट्स, इनके माता पिता जब एक ऐसे कल्चर से बिलोंग करते हैं जहाँ पे कि कृष्णा क्या होते हैं, कृष्णा भक्ति क्या होती है, उसके बारे में तो कुछ पता ही नहीं होता, और इन्होंने अपने जीवन को जब भक्ति में दिया तो इनके पेरेंट्स को ज़्यादा खुश नहीं थे। पर फिर धीरे धीरे जब इनके पेरेंट्स को ये लगा कि ये लोग बहुत सीरियस हैं, और उन्होंने भी मंदिर आके देखा कि भक्त बहुत अच्छे हैं, तो वो बहुत खुश रहे, और उनको भी काफ़ी खुशी हुई कि उनके बच्चे सही जगह पे लग चुके हैं। तो हम ओके, दे आर बैक,
We're back.
We're
we have
back.
them
Hare
back.
Krishna.
No problem. So we'll proceed to our next question. Our next question is coming from Vraja Prema. He's asking, sometimes I feel like just go and settle in Mayapur or Vrindavan. When should I know I am ready to live in any dham? Very good question.
You come.
I don't know. I mean, everywhere where devotees is a small part of Mayapur and Vrindavan. And
Wow.
so if you would like to settle to Srila Mayapur or Vrindavan, come and visit. And if the heart tells you that's the place I would like to move, then that's the place where you move. So that's how we also did. We tried in small steps. We came here for 1 month, then we came here for half a year, and tried slowly. Is it really what we can imagine to do?
Correct. तो अगर आप जहाँ पे भी रहते हैं वहाँ पे भी एक धाम है भक्तों के साथ, पर अगर आप फिर भी धाम में निवास करना चाहते हैं तो छोटे छोटे स्टेप से शुरू कीजिए, और अगर आपका मन वही कहता है कि आपको इस धाम में रहना है तो आप भी रह सकते हैं। सो विल गो टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन। हमारा नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन हम आ रहा है। Our next question is coming from Shitish Chetnandani. He asks, what challenges did you face in your early spiritual journey and how did you face them? Is there a wonderful lesson you would like to share? So he wants to know what were the challenges you faced in your early spiritual life and what is the lesson you derived from it?
Yeah, I think there's always challenges, not only in early life. I think the challenges are always there. Sometimes more mentally, sometimes more physically. Well, I think you have to keep going. Anyways, you have to keep going in life and try always to take shelter. That's always my. Sometimes also I'm not inspired, and maybe I don't, feel like I want to do a lot of service. So sometimes I do. I grab my beat bike, I go to the river, I chant some rounds, sit down, I try to go in myself. Sometimes I go to the temple, have good association with devotees. So I think that you never give up. That's the challenges will be always there. The thing is, you should not give up. You can always be, there's always drawbacks, but you should not give up. This is the main importance, and always try to go a step further, have good association, maybe hear some lecture, and you always have the choice. You always have the choice. You can switch on, take YouTube. You take your mobile phone, and you can have the choice. Where do I click? Make the right choices also. Go on Hare Krishna TV. They have very good shows. Don't Netflix. No, don't do Netflix. Hare Krishna TV. They have very good shows like that. So make the right choices also.
Amazing. Maji, would you like to add something?
Yeah, one big challenge for me was to get initiated. I knew the devotees or was in the community already for 10 years, and I could just not imagine to, because we in ISKCON we promise to chant 16 rounds every day, and I just couldn't imagine to promise this. And so I was for a long time not ready to give this promise, but when I finally did, I asked, why did I wait so long? It's so much mercy came with the with taking initiation and with really commit myself to this process, that I really asked me then for a long time, why did I wait so long? What's the difficulty? So sometimes I think we just have to do, and realize that it's actually not so difficult than we think it is.
Correct. So it's a very good saying, which says that you must start doing something before you think that you are ready for it. So it's
Hmm.
exactly it's exactly what happened with you. तो दर्शकों, प्रभु जी के जीवन में कई बार ऐसा होता है कि इन्हें जप करने का मन नहीं करता या कुछ भी करने का मन नहीं करता, तो ये भक्तों के साथ एसोसिएशन करते हैं। और उन्होंने बड़ी सुंदरता से ये कहा कि आपको अपने जीवन में हमेशा कठिनाइयां जरूर आएंगी, पर जो चॉइस आप करेंगे, जो आप अपने डिसीजंस लेंगे, वही डिसाइड करेगा कि आप आगे किस तरह से बढ़ सकते हैं। और माता जी के जीवन में ऐसी डिफिकल्टी आई थी कि ये दीक्षा के लिए इतनी रेडी नहीं समझ रही थी अपने आप को, बट जब इन्होंने दीक्षा ली तब इन्होंने समझा कि इन्होंने फालतू में ही काफी टाइम वेस्ट कर दिया, इन्हें जल्दी लेनी चाहिए थी दीक्षा, क्योंकि उससे इन्हें वो भक्ति में वो प्रेरणा मिली जिससे कि आगे अपने जीवन को समर्पित कर पाए। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। प्रोसीडिंग टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन कमिंग फ्रॉम Trishan Bose. He asked, where are your kids, especially Vamana? So our audience is asking about the kids. So where are your kids?
They're sleeping. Their bedtime is at 7 o'clock, so they're already in deep sleep, I hope.
Yeah. Like we
Okay.
said, we wake up 4 o'clock every day, so that they have their 8-9 hours sleep. We go to bed early.
So
So
इनके बच्चे बड़े जल्दी सो जाते
Sorry.
हैं।
sorry.
No problem. Please proceed. Were you saying something?
No.
Yeah. So we'll proceed to the next question. Our next question is coming from Yash Gandharv. He asked, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Mataji, beautiful listening to you. Your son is a pure devotee from childhood. What's your message from your end to us to do devotional activities from childhood? So, what would be your message to them so that they can also do some devotion? I think Yash Gandharv is a child and he also wants to do it, and he wants to know that how can they be inspired to do something from their childhood as the way your children are doing it.
Thank you that you think our children are, or Vamana is a pure devotee. But
For us, it's still our children,
for us, it's
with all their sides.
um, I would just say choose nice association. Go to the people who inspire you, yeah, who can give you this spiritual environment where you can more easily practice also your spiritual life. Choose the association for the kids wisely.
सो इनका ये मैसेज है कि अगर आप अपने जीवन में अपने बच्चों को इस तरह का आध्यात्मिक एनवायरनमेंट दें, तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप ये देखें कि वो किसके साथ रहते हैं, किसके साथ संगति करते हैं। तो अगर आप सही संगति चुनेंगे तो ऑटोमेटिकली ये गुण आपके बच्चों में और आप में भी आएगा। और जैसे कि उन्होंने पहले भी कहा था दैट इट्स रियली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू एज अ पेरेंट टू एंजॉय व्हाट यू आर डूइंग। सो इट्स आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट इफ यू एंजॉय इट, योर किड्स विल आल्सो एंजॉय इट। अगर आप जो चीज एंजॉय कर रहे हैं तो आपके बच्चे भी एंजॉय करेंगे। तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू डू दैट। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम Pankaj Sharma. He says, Indians generally think that our children will lag behind if we send our children to places like Gurukul. Don't you think so? I believe your children are in Gurukul. What motivated you? So he says that generally in India, people have this tendency to think that if they are sending their children to some spiritual schools like Gurukul, then academically, materially, they will be lagging behind. So what motivated you to do it? And I would like you to clear this myth also. Is it true?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, for us, the most important thing for us is that our children get a good character training. That was, character, the good values in life, that they good habits, that they are in association with good people, that they also get good qualities. So I think the most important thing in life for everything to be successful, to even materially be successful, is to have good qualities, to be determined, that you know what you want, that you have good behaviors. And I think when this is the baseline, when you have this, then whatever comes in life, challenges and even the choice what you want to do in your life, then you have you have better um, options, I think, than if you go in a school where these things are not taught. So I'm convinced that my children, my son or my children, if they have this kind of education, um, then they will do good in life. I'm very certain that everything, whatever good fortune should come, it will come because the good qualities are there. So this is important. Of course, some skills, some knowledge has to be there. I'm not, don't want to say that children should not learn anything. They should learn, basics and everything, and but I think the rest will come.
Amazing. Maji, would you like to add something?
Um, of course, you have to see the inclination of the child as well. Try to find out what is the nature of the child. Do he likes to do something with his hands? Do he likes to help people in a medical way? Of course, then he has to do different steps to achieve this. But try. I think that the baseline, what my father said, what my husband said, is good character, and then see what's the child's inclination.
And I think what also important to understand is that it doesn't mean because he's going now in Gurukul that he has to become a Brahmachari, he has to become a priest, he has to become like a full-time devotee. So even I know many kids and they went to Gurukul for many years, 10, 15 years, and they went out and then you know they pursued some material education, like some education. They went to the studies, and some are doing really well because they have the inclination, and then they also can do it, and they're actually doing quite good because they have a very good education in Gurukul, how to do this.
Yeah.
So this is also some thinking, okay, there's only two ways. No, maybe both. Some years Gurukul, and then you see the inclination, and maybe they go in this direction or in that direction. So like that.
तो ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हमारे जो बच्चे हैं उनको एजुकेशन तो ज़रूर मिले, पर उससे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट होता है कैरेक्टर, और गुरुकुल और ऐसी आध्यात्मिक शिक्षा से हमें मिलता है कैरेक्टर, और उसके बाद ये भी बहुत ज़रूरी है कि उन्हें वो स्किल्स मिले। तो प्रभु जी और माता जी एकदम कन्विंस्ड हैं कि हाँ, आज का ये समय है जब उन्हें कैरेक्टर बिल्ड करना है, और आगे जाके जो उनकी इच्छा होगी उस हिसाब से वो परस्यू कर पाएंगे। बट जहाँ पे भी रहेंगे, जो भी कार्य करेंगे, अच्छे से करेंगे, क्योंकि बचपन में ही उन्हें वो कैरेक्टर, वो नींव मिल गई जिससे कि वो कभी भी भटकेंगे नहीं। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम प्रशांत शर्मा, बनारस वाले। ही सेज, प्रद्युम्न जी, आप पति धर्म के बारे में कुछ बताइए प्लीज। हमारी शादी होने वाली है और हम भक्ति के साथ कीर्तन जीना है। सो Pradyumna Prabhuji, this is for you. This Prashant Sharma is asking, what is the duty of a husband towards a family life, towards a wife? Because this gentleman is going to get married soon, and he wants to understand that what is that pati dharma which you follow, and he wants to take inspiration for it because he's going to get married, and he also wants to spend a life which is spiritual in nature. So please go on.
I For me, my realization is your wife is like your goddess of fortune. She's your Lakshmi. She's the representation of Lakshmi. So if you want to have a happy life, try to make your wife happy. If she's happy, if she's satisfied, you fulfill her needs, then you will be everything around will become good and fortunate. So of course, there's a lot of, you have to, work on yourself, become more selfless, because, there's family, there's kids, there's needs, you have to fulfill them. And but you will see after some time, there's also big payback for that. If you fulfill your duties, try to make your wife happy, your children, make everything nicely, you will see there is a great fulfillment for yourself. So in the first, it looks like you have to do so many things for others, and you will be left alone. But actually, you will get back a lot of things. So treat your wife as it would be, Lakshmi Devi. Make her happy, like that.
So प्रद्युम्न जी का कहना है कि ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि हम अपनी पत्नियों को लक्ष्मी जी की तरह ट्रीट करें, जो कि है गॉडेस ऑफ फॉर्च्यून, उनकी तरह ट्रीट करें और उनकी भी सेवा करें और उनको खुश रखें हमेशा। शुरुआती तौर पे हमें लगेगा कि हम सिर्फ अपनी पत्नी के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, परिवार के बारे में सोच रहे हैं और अपने बारे में नहीं सोच रहे, और अगर हम ये सेवा भाव से करेंगे तो उसके फल स्वरूप हमें अपने जीवन में बहुत खुशी मिलेगी और इवेंचुअली हम खुश रहेंगे। तो ये काफी अच्छा संदेश दिया प्रभु जी ने कि दैट वी मस्ट कीप आवर वाइफ हैप्पी टू हैव आवर लाइफ हैप्पी, एंड दैट्स व्हाट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इन आवर लाइफ। So we'll proceed to our next question. Our next question is coming from Shruti Misra. She says, if we love someone who is devotee and want to marry, but parents won't allow due to caste difference in future, what should we do? It's a very painful decision to make. Please help. So Shruti Mishra, she wants to know that in India specifically, this is a lot of problem that many times parents don't allow you to get married to the person just because they come from a different culture and caste, and we come from a different culture and caste. So she wants to know what should we do if you want to get married to someone and our parents are not allowing, because it's a very painful decision to make.
What do you think? Please, Prabhuji, maybe you try to answer.
So practically seeing in my own life, yes, it always is difficult in the start to, तो ये बहुत मुश्किल रहता है स्टार्ट में करना, but when you are very strong in your sadhana, when you are very strong in your spiritual practices, sooner or later there is a way, and parents always agree. There are no parents who does not want the happiness of their children. So it's always very important for you to be very strong in these times, because these are the testing times of your sadhana, of your spiritual life. And if you both are dedicated towards it, Krishna will always help. That's my answer, but the audience wants to know answer from you.
Yes, it's because we don't, we didn't grow up in this,
with this background.
Yeah, with this background. I mean, you can see it from this side that, sometimes it's very nice in India that the parents still take care actually of the kids, which I like it. It's and and sometimes in our background, our parents, they have no idea actually. They have no idea what the kids are doing. They sometimes even don't care much. They just let the kids do whatever they like, and sometimes something good comes out, but sometimes a bad thing comes out. So, I mean, if you take it in the spirit of actually my parents want to do the best for me, and as I said, I think after they maybe have to see that you're really serious about it and that you're convinced, and if both have the same same opinion, then yeah, you have to convince the parents, maybe with actions also. You have to be patient, prove yourself maybe also in some ways. As a boy, you have to maybe prove yourself and prove the parents of the girl that you are worth it. Like that.
तो ये काफी अच्छी चीज है, क्योंकि जिस तरह के कल्चर से ये लोग आते हैं वहाँ पे माता पिता ज्यादा केयर नहीं करते कि बच्चे क्या कर रहे हैं, तो कई बार बच्चे सही चीज भी करते हैं और गलत चीज भी करते हैं। तो हमारे भारतीय परिवार में ये चीज बहुत अच्छी है कि हमारे माता पिता हमारे लिए सही चाहते हैं, और एट द सेम टाइम हमें अपनी भक्ति को दृढ़ रखना है और उनको ये चीज समझानी है कि हम जो करना चाह रहे हैं वो किसी निश्चय की वजह से करना चाह रहे हैं। अगर हम अपने भक्ति में दृढ़ रहेंगे तो हमारे पेरेंट्स, हमारे माँ बाप जरूर कन्विंस हो जाएंगे, पर जो भी वो चाहते हैं वो हमारे भले के लिए ही चाहते हैं, तो हमें इसको बैलेंस करके चलना है। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम प्रवीण कुमार बिंद। हिया श्रीमन जी, जब ये अपने देश अपने बच्चों के साथ जाते हैं तो उनके बच्चों उम्र के बच्चे इनके बच्चों के साथ कैसे व्यवहार कर रहे हैं? So they want to know that when Vaman and I forgot your daughter's name, I'm sorry. Your
Padmini.
daughter's name is Padmini. So when Vaman and Padmini goes to Germany, and when they mingle with the kids of their age, then how do they adjust with them? Because they are coming from a different culture over here, where you know they are spiritually inclined towards many things. So how do they mingle with the children of their age, especially when they go to their country where people are not so spiritually inclined?
It's difficult to say because first of all, we're not spending much time in Germany. We just were recently in the summer, we were 2 months, but there were only devotee kids actually. So they never really had much association with, I would say, non-devotee kids. But I mean, but in general, I would say children are children, and when they come together, children they play, they have some fun time together, and it's all right. Of course, maybe at a certain point we would not like, that they watch then too much television, or do maybe different things we don't want them to do. But if you would spend more time in Germany, and they have some some friends also who are maybe not so inclined, and we would see, it would be not, we are not like, don't talk to this, they are demon kids. We would not, it should be normal human beings, they are, and everyone and in fact everyone is a devotee, and we don't like this, put all the people in boxes, this is devotee, is not a devotee, so let it, we're all humans, after all, and we should be nice to everyone. And I would teach my children this kind of lessons, that they should be nice with everyone and don't make these distinctions, these are not devotees, these are bad people. I don't like to go into this.
Correct. That's amazing. Maji, would you like to add something?
No, I think he said everything.
Amazing. So ये अपने बच्चों को ये सिखाते हैं कि सब समान होते हैं, अगर वो भक्ति कर रहे हैं या भक्ति नहीं कर रहे हैं। कोई बच्चे तो बच्चे होते हैं, तो ये ऐसे ही सीख देते हैं अपने बच्चों को कि आप हर किसी के साथ वैसे ही व्यवहार कीजिए जैसे आप एक भक्त के साथ व्यवहार करेंगे। हालांकि इनका इतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, क्योंकि ये मायापुर में रहते हैं और जब जर्मनी भी जाते हैं तो भक्तों के साथ ही रहते हैं, बट इन्होंने कभी भी अपने बच्चों को ये नहीं सिखाया कि भक्तों के साथ इस तरह से बिहेव करना है या जो भक्ति नहीं कर रहे उनके साथ इस तरह से करना है, क्योंकि इनका ये मानना है कि सब कोई भक्ति है, बस कोई शायद अभी भक्ति में सक्रिय नहीं है, तो हम उसे भक्ति में ना होना नहीं कहेंगे। काफी मतलब कह सकते हैं कि काफी गहराई में ये भक्ति को समझ पा रहे हैं। तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ। वी आर प्रोसीडिंग टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन व्हिच इज कमिंग फ्रॉम Surjam Das. So he asked, as you have lived in Brahmachari Ashram for 3 years, is there any major difference between doing bhakti in Brahmachari Ashram and Grihastha Ashram?
Yes and no, I would say. There is some major difference, well, I would say it like this, some basics are the same. I wake up in the morning, I take a shower, and I chant japa, and in the morning I go to the temple and see the deities, and then then after that, then there's a lot of change. Maybe you have to do work, and have some business and some family duties and everything. And as brahmacharis, you have more time. You can dedicate yourself fully, and of course a major difference. But I can recommend everyone who has some time and have some space for this. I can recommend everyone to spend some time as kind of a brahmachari life. It's possible, if it's possible. It's it gives a lot of value for your whole life, I think, if you have, can dedicate some time of your life. Maybe not like a full-time brahmachari, but at least, draw yourself back. Even if you study or go to university, don't go and don't have a wild lifestyle, and reduce yourself, with some more devotional activities before you get married, and you have a lot of more time, and dedicate yourself more to devotional activities. It's good.
अमेजिंग. तो ये अपने जीवन में जब ब्रह्मचारी थे और जब अभी गृहस्थ जीवन में, बस इतना ही फर्क है कि तब इन्हें शायद थोड़ा ज़्यादा समय मिलता था, पर अभी ये अपने पारिवारिक जीवन में भी अपनी जिम्मेदारियां निभाते हैं. पर ये ज़रूर कहते हैं कि अगर आप अपने जीवन में कुछ सालों के लिए ब्रह्मचारी आश्रम का पालन कर सकें और फिर गृहस्थ आश्रम में आए, तो आपको काफ़ी अच्छी एक सीख मिलती है अपने जीवन में भक्ति करने की, जो आपके पूरे जीवन में आपके साथ रहती है. तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ. वी आर प्रोसीडिंग टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम Virendra Igbote. He asked, Prabhuji, did you find difficult in living Western culture habits and adopting to Vaishnav culture?
It's a gradual process. You don't start with 0 to 100%. It's a gradual process, and you take what you can take at the time, and then you take more, and so on. And leaving Western culture, I think we pretty much still Western in some kinds of our thinking, or in what we. So, what would you like to add to this?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a big topic about Vaishnava culture. I mean, this is, of course, looking back to before I became a devotee, of course, there's a big difference. What we did, like I said, it was a gradual process, but many things were very easy to give up, and some bad habits from before. Like even. Smoking cigarettes and all this kind of stuff, and eating things you better not to eat and everything. I'm very happy to give this kind of things up. So, yeah, for many things, I'm very, very happy that I could give up and live now a more Vaishnav cultured life. I'm very happy about that. But maybe some things, more difficult to give up fully.
तो इनका कहना है कि धीरे धीरे ही सही, पर ये आदतें छूट जाती हैं, और कुछ कुछ आदतें तो इनको छोड़ने में ये काफ़ी सुखी हैं कि वो आदतें जैसे सिगरेट पीना और इत्यादि इन्होंने छोड़ दिया. बट कुछ कुछ आदतें समय के साथ छूटती हैं. तो बट ये काफ़ी खुश हैं कि वो सारी आदतें छोड़ के आज अपना जीवन एक वैष्णव कल्चर से, एक वैष्णव पद्धति से व्यतीत कर रहे हैं. तो हम बढ़ेंगे हमारे नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ. वी आर प्रोसीडिंग टू आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. आवर नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम सिद्धेश नायक. He asked, if children is not listening to parents, then how we can convince them to become Krishna consciousness? So Mataji, I would like for you to start first. If children don't listen to you, that they are not listening to you in practicing Krishna consciousness, then how do we convince them?
I think there is no way to really convince them. Like we said before, we have to show them that it's fun. If, for example, my daughter don't wants to go in the morning to the temple, then I remind her of the friends she's meeting there, and then her mood may change. So it's not that I come, no, we have to go to the temple because we have to bow down to God every day. It's I try to remind her of the things that are important in the moment for her, and friends are very important for her, and luckily she meets them also in the temple. And otherwise you can just convince someone, like by living an example, and then ultimately they have to choose. Everyone has to join, even if they are born in the Krishna conscious movement or in a Vaishnav culture. They will come to a point in their life where they have to say, yes, I want to live that life, and they have to do this decision on their own on one point in their life. And until then, I can try to make it happy for them, or try to
Somehow,
explain it that
try to.
they so but
Amazing. तो हर बार ऐसा नहीं होता कि बच्चे भक्ति के लिए मान जाते हैं, बट कई बार छोटी छोटी चीजों से, जैसे कि आप मंदिर जाके अपने दोस्तों से मिलेंगे और इत्यादि छोटी छोटी चीजों से बच्चों को आकर्षित किया जाता है कि वो भक्ति की थोड़ी पद्धतियां करें। बट सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट ये है कि एज अ पेरेंट्स अगर आप फॉलो करते हैं वो चीजों को, तो भक्ति आपके बच्चे भी फॉलो करेंगे। So, so we'll end with our question answer round now. I apologize to all our audience who are still asking questions, but because of time limitations, we won't be able to take your questions. हम समय के अभाव के कारण आपके प्रश्न नहीं ले पाएंगे. So you can put your questions in the live, in the comment section, and we'll try our level best to answer your questions later in the time. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, Mataji. You came today, you spared out time, and this is the time when you sleep, but still you spared that time for us to inspire us with your life. So before we end this show, I would like you to give some final words, some final message to our audience of how can they get inspired to do bhakti in their life.
Start.
me choose your examples, and seek blessings from them, and go for it. Go for your spiritual life. Try to think of the goals you would like to achieve in your spiritual life, and go for it.
Yeah, I would say make the right choices. Like I said before, you always can choose between things, and life is about choices. And take the good association, read the right books, watch the right shows on YouTube, and yeah, I think the key is really association. If you get yourself in a good environment, then you will go in the right direction with the good environment. So for me, always I try to put myself in a good association with good devotees, with good people, and yeah, I think this is the most important. And I also want to take the opportunity to visit holy dhams, visit holy places. If you live near a temple, then go to the temple, visit this temple. If you have some holidays, don't go. You can go to the beach. You can go to Puri Beach. But take your holidays. Maybe visit some nice places, some nice pilgrimages. There's so many, especially when in India. But even not watching from India, there's temples around the world. Go there, visit the places. Get in contact. Try to get association, the darshan, and everything. So yeah, make the first step to do that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Mataji. You came today and you inspired us, so many audience here watching this show, of how can they practice little better in their life, and they can have a new perspective in their life about practicing bhakti. And I'm so glad that you shared your life with all of us to get that inspiration. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having us on the show. Thank you very much.
तो दर्शकों, आज हमने इनकी लाइफ से एक चीज सीखी कि किस तरीके से हमें भक्ति के प्रति थोड़ी सीरियसनेस दिखानी है। 16-17 साल की उम्र में, 20-22 साल की उम्र में इन्होंने अपने जीवन में ये क्वेश्चन करना शुरू कर दिया था कि भाई, लाइफ इससे ज्यादा कुछ तो है, और इन्हें फिर भक्ति मिली और आज अपने जीवन को भक्ति को समर्पित कर चुके हैं। हमें अपने आप से ये जो सवाल पूछना है, क्या ऐसा सवाल हमें भी आता है? अगर हमें ऐसा सवाल आता है तो क्या हम अपने जीवन में भक्ति को स्थान दे रहे हैं? अगर आप दे रहे हैं तो आपको शुभकामनाएं, पर अगर आप नहीं दे पा रहे हैं तो आज ये समय है कि हम अपने जीवन में एक सुधार लाएं और अपने जीवन में सुधार लाते हुए भक्ति को अपने जीवन में एक स्थान दें। जाने से पहले मैं एक अनाउंसमेंट करना चाहूंगा कि इस संडे हमारा एक कोर्स है जो कि शुरुआत हो रही है। इस कोर्स की ये 10 दिनों का कोर्स है जो कि 10 संडेज चलेगा। इस कोर्स के अंदर आपको सिखाया जाएगा कि किस तरीके से आप सक्सेसफुल हो सकते हैं, कीज ऑफ सक्सेस। तो इस शो की रजिस्ट्रेशन लिंक हम शेयर कर रहे हैं लाइव चैट में, तो आप इस सब में रजिस्टर कर सकते हैं। ये लिया जाएगा श्रीमान मदन सुंदर दास जी की तरफ से, जो कि हैं ओहायो यूनिवर्सिटी से, जिन्होंने एमएस किया है, और ये सेल्फ अवेयरनेस के ऊपर कोर्स लेंगे, जो कि ये पहले दिन का टॉपिक होगा। तो आप सब इसमें रजिस्टर करके इस सर्टिफाइड कोर्स का फायदा उठा सकते हैं। दिस इज अ फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट कोर्स, आप इस कोर्स को कर सकते हैं फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। सो दर्शकों, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग अस टुडे एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर वंडरफुल क्वेश्चंस। आप लोग के क्वेश्चंस की वजह से ही हमारा ये शो इतना रोमांचक बनता है। तो हम मिलेंगे अगली बार एक और नई कहानी के साथ, एक और नई प्रेरणा के साथ, भले ही किसी भी भाषा में हो। एक मुलाकात कृष्ण भक्त के साथ। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे। हैव अ ग्रेट इवनिंग।